Okay, ladies and gentlemen, this is what it is that we've been waiting for. A pleasant good morning reaching out to each and every one right here on Thursday, December the 24th. It's Christmas Eve. Okay, for those of us who celebrate, we want to say Merry Christmas when it comes and Happy Holidays, all right? And ladies and gentlemen, this show is called Cruisin with a Case Handler. It's a show on personal injury and immigration. I do believe that Mr. Adam Handler has taken off the day. Tomorrow will be his birthday, so we want to say happy birthday to him in advance, Mr. Adam Handler, the case handler, the man who has settled well over $120 million for his clients, ladies and gentlemen, to date. He's with the firm, of course, PPID, Pollack, Isaac, and the Seco. And ladies and gentlemen, it is great. It's wonderful. It's great to actually have these attorneys here answering immigration questions, helping people in the capacity of personal injury. It's a blessing to have them. So once again, let's welcome each and every one to Cruisin with a Case Handler, show on 93.5 WVIP FM, 9:30 a.m. each and every single weekday. But today, we jumped it off a little bit earlier. So we want to say thanks to each and every one for tuning in. If you're watching us on Facebook, please, we ask you to share with all your friends and so forth. All right. So thanks again for actually tuning in. Let's introduce the panel today. All right. We've got the General Alan E.K., of course, Esquire. He's an attorney at the law firm Pollack, Isaac, and the Seco. We've got Yee. How you doing today, Yee? All is well with you, man? He's another attorney.
Absolutely.
Okay.
The scientist, right?
There you go, the scientist. It was great seeing you on television yesterday, but we'll get to that in a minute. And then we've got the managing partner of the firm, Conrad Pollack. Welcome again to the show right here on Cruisin with the Case Handler. And no case handler to this morning, but we've got all the time for ourselves, so that's a good thing. I'm quite sure he's listening and saying, yep, there they go. But welcome, gentlemen, welcome. Where should we start? I guess we should start with the obvious, right, this morning. Conrad, I'll let you do the introductions because it was very interesting to see that case that you spoke about on television yesterday, WPIX News.
Yeah, we have a client who has been detained. A gentleman is from India. He's been in the country for 27 years. He's currently being detained by ICE. He's picked up in the middle of the night about 5-6 months ago. He's been in jail since then. They grabbed him middle of the night, as I said, shipped him down to Louisiana detention, which is where he's been for this past several months. They just brought him back after pressure on our part. They just brought him back up to New Jersey, still detained, but still trying to get him out. This is a gentleman who, as I said, has been in the country for 27 years. He has a U.S. citizen wife. He has 3 U.S. citizen children. And they're all minors, small children. One of them, 8 years old, suffers from cerebral palsy. Basically, totally 100% reliant on her parents to take care of her, support her, and of course for our client to support the entire family. Anyway, we've been working on the case and we've been trying to get him out, and we've been fighting with immigration because every time we try to get him out, the Trump administration comes up with some lame excuse or no answer at all to just keep maintain his incarceration and to try to ship him back to India, where he hasn't been in 27 years, despite his entire family being here. Anyway, we have Yi Zhao on the show with us this morning because he's handling the case. In fact, it was on TV last night on Channel 11, and Yi was interviewed along with our clients, and he could probably explain a little bit more about what's going on. But also, Dave, do we have access to the video?
I'm working on that right now as we speak.
We could show it. So yeah, you want to give a little color here, feel free.
Okay, all right. So as Conrad explained, this is just an incredibly saddening case. The fact that you have an individual who's pretty much the vital caregiver for 3 very, very sick children, including one who's very, very sick with cerebral palsy. The fact that they chose to detain him, he's been checking in with the government for a number of years, and then the government suddenly decided one day that they're going to, just ship him off because they feel it's time for him. And the fact that even though he has a petition already pending for his legalization, they won't let him go through with that. They just think he can leave and go abroad. And while generally that may be true in a number of cases, in this case, you know, even if he had to go abroad and be abroad for a year or two, that could be fatal for his family. So this is why this is such a important case for us to, we just have to be able to
Okay.
try to get him free and get him to allow him to be here with his family. And that's what we're attempting to do. There are a number of options.
Everyone helping me.
Petition.
Okay. Right. Proceed. It's okay. Go ahead. Very interesting. I don't know if you guys can actually see this. Are you guys seeing this right now? Let's see if we can get some.
See it, let it roll. We can see
All
it.
Everyone helping me a lot, like, but without him, we are nothing.
This is the agony of Sukhdev Singh's wife. Singh was taken in the early morning hours of June 8th from his New Hyde Park home on Long Island. His family woken from their sleep as ICE agents took him first to a detention facility in New Jersey, and then within 24 hours to Louisiana, Kentucky. Singh can be deported to his native India at any time.
We are dying like every single day. It's hard for like everyone, like not only me, for my kids.
What's ensued since that day, Rajwinder Kaur describes as a nightmare. Her husband is the family's sole breadwinner, but that's not the worst of it. The couple together are the caretakers for their 8-year-old daughter, Ashmeet.
What can I do for them? That's not their fault.
Ashmeet has cerebral palsy and completely reliant upon her parents. Just last month, adding to the family's troubles, Ashmeet was hospitalized for COVID-19. Handling her 3 children on her own, Rajwinder says, is a daily struggle. Her sister says she and the rest of the family are doing everything they can to help this family, but what they really need is her brother-in-law back home.
It's completely devastating. It broke our families.
Singh entered the United States illegally in 1993. In 1999, he was issued an order of removal, but never left for India. His family and friends maintain Singh was never in hiding and always checked in with immigration authorities under what is known as an order of supervision once a year.
He's obeyed every single condition. That's why they've allowed him to stay, which makes it all the more jarring.
A taxi driver on Long Island by trade, Singh has no criminal history, according to his attorney. He has paid his taxes every year. His wife and 3 daughters, all U.S. citizens. What they are begging for now is leniency for a man they say has done everything he can to stay in a country he loves, with a family who says their very survival depends on him remaining.
People's circumstances change over the time period that they're in the United States. Okay, in this case, this is somebody who's married to a United States citizen and has 3 U.S. citizen children. Now, there's a line for people like that.
It's not easy, but like we have hope he's gonna be back. That hope we survive in 6 months.
Narmeen Chaudhry, Pix 11 News.
All right, so there you go. Very interesting and very sad at the same time with a situation like this, and it literally, you know, it's actually a tearjerker just to watch and listen and see what's going on. So where do we go from here with this, gentlemen? As the fact that you, Pollack, Isaac, and Nisiko, the law firm, is representing Singh.
You want to start off and
Yeah. Okay, well, we have a couple of avenues we need to go. We need to continue to fight on the legal front. There are appeals and petitions that we can make. He's in New Jersey now. We're going to file this in New Jersey.
Mm-hmm.
And
But hopefully in New Jersey, we have a much more favorable forum.
Of course.
With the judges that'll listen to us. The case has been in the Fifth Circuit until now. Unfortunately, they're not very receptive down there to immigration cases. Hopefully we'll get more,
Fifth Circuit is in Louisiana.
better audience here. Sorry?
Yeah.
The Fifth Circuit was Louisiana, where they were holding him previously. Now they've moved him up to New York, and we're in a different circuit court. So he is now working on filing in the courts in New Jersey. More receptive than in Louisiana, we hope.
Yeah. And the second thing, and this cannot be understated, is having the press here is vitally important, and that's why we, with the consent of the family, got this out to the press, because it's so important in this type of case. There was a couple of years back, I don't know if any of you recall, this was in the news a couple of years back, a pizza delivery man from Ecuador was detained at an army base, and that got a lot of press. He was released by a judge in New York, and that's become one of the precedents that we're looking at. It's a very, very similar case. Obviously, the family in that case isn't having quite the difficulty that this family is, which just makes this case all the more sad.
Yeah, well, actually, while we're on air, I've been texting back and forth with the reporter who aired this segment on TV last night, and I'm letting her know, and I'm letting everyone know, we're in touch with different congressional offices. We've been reaching out to Senator Schumer's office, local congressmen as well. We have calls into Senator Gillibrand's office. We're trying to get as much pressure on ICE, on the Immigration Service as possible here, because we're genuinely fearful that they're going to move this guy, any time now. It wouldn't surprise me, which by the way, before I even make my next statement, the reporter on the case reached out to the Immigration Service on this matter several times. Crickets, not a response. Even mentioned the announcer last night even mentioned on air how immigration hadn't even responded to get their side of the story. Why? Because there is no side to their story. There is no justification here. But look,
the announcer actually seemed kind of upset.
Well, yeah, I like the fact when it was the announcer at the end of the program after it showed, you could see he had a look of disgust on his face, and rightfully so. I mean, they're tearing this family apart, and they don't even have the decency to respond and explain why. It's just everything about this story. It's incredible. It's incredible that this type of, I used to say it's incredible that this type of stuff could happen in this country. Not so much anymore after the past 4 years, unfortunately.
It is ridiculous. I mean, it's terrible. And this man evidently is the provider for his family.
Yes. Yes.
And here was
a lot of our listeners on this show, I'm sure, can sympathize with what's going on here. Granted, this is an extreme situation, where there's a serious illness in the family, serious that requiring the care and support of the parents, but our listeners, a lot of immigrants out there have dealt with similar circumstances. They've been here forever, 10, 20, 30, 40 years. Maybe, in fact, some of them maybe made a mistake and committed a crime 20, 30 years ago. And you'd think after such a period of time, and they've been here in this country and established a life here in this country, have a family, paying their taxes, working, doing everything right. They think that, hey, everything's okay now. It doesn't matter that I made a mistake 30 years ago. Unfortunately, that's not the way it works. And especially these days, prior to Trump, there was certainly, and I mean, Obama had his issues as well with immigration enforcement, but it was reasonable to assume back then, pre 2016, that yes, okay, I made a mistake. It can be forgiven in genuine circumstances. These days, unfortunately, that's not the case. And the only mistake that this current person made, that our current client made, was he entered the country legally. He has no criminal record. He's done nothing wrong since then. He has been paying his taxes. He's been supporting his family. He's been presenting himself to the Immigration Service on a regular basis, as would someone who had been imprisoned for criminal issues, seeing his probation officer. Same type of thing here. He has followed every step of the way. He's followed he's satisfied any obligations that have been put on him. He's been doing everything right. And still, the guy's been locked up for the last 6 years, separated from his family. He was in Louisiana until yesterday as well, whereas his family is here in Long Island. And again, this segment airs on TV. We've been trying to get a hold of immigration to get their take on the story for the past week. Nothing. It's just incredible.
And the interesting thing is that This past week, Biden's immigration team said to the press and to the public that they would implement a 100-day freeze on deportations. Hopefully, this would apply to our client Sukhdev Singh, but Biden is not going to be in office until January, and hopefully we can keep this guy here until Biden comes in, because then maybe he will come under this 100-day freeze on deportation. But we've got to keep him here while Trump is here still, and until Biden comes in.
You know, by the way, as I said, throughout the morning, I've been speaking with the reporter on this case, and she just texted me because she's listening. Hi, Noreen, by the way. She already contacted the governor's office as well, and she's waiting to hear back from them. And she's saying she reached out to ICE, Homeland Security, at least 5 times in the past week to get their response as to what's going on here. Nothing.
Yeah, the only way we're getting responses from ICE is through Senator Schumer's office. They've been very helpful. They get through. They talk to ICE. We may not like what we're hearing, but at least Senator Schumer's office is able to get through. And I'm going to call them as soon as this program is over. So they will talk about the latest.
I'm just very happy that you guys were able to get or work it out with WPIX to actually get that public attention. And hopefully that will actually help this situation, because once again, to see a man's family going through that and he's not there, you know, it's unbelievable. The other thing that I'd like to say here, and you gentlemen can actually expound on this, is this could happen to just about anyone, right? That's
Right.
out there in this capacity, right? I mean, listeners who are actually tuning into 93.5 WVIP FM, this could happen to many of you. And the part that I want to really get to is the fact that make sure that you have a reputable, solid entity, and that entity should be PPID, Pollack, Isaac, and DeSico, to represent you in such cases. And I'm quite sure there are similar cases out there that's not getting the attention that this one is getting. So I must commend you attorneys for actually doing such a great job. Have you guys dealt with situations like this before? Conrad, Yee, Alan?
Yes.
Well, we've all, Alan, as we've talked, Alan's been doing this for 50, 60, 70 years. I've only been doing it for half that time. He's the relative novice here, but yes, we have seen these issues before. And in fact, that's how the article got picked up by Newsday in the first place. Because Alan's been doing this for quite some time, and he has his hands in various places. So that's how Newsday picked up the story a few weeks back, and then that's eventually how PIX picked it up. And now we're working on getting this into the New York Times. We're hoping that we could get some more widespread distribution in the story. Look, we're doing everything we can to get this guy out of jail and back with his family. We're doing everything we possibly can. So,
wow, unbelievable. Ladies and gentlemen, we are here doing the show. It's called Cruisin with a Case Handler, a show on personal injury and immigration, brought to you by the law firm Pollack, Isaac, and DeSico, located at 225 Broadway in New York City, with offices in Brooklyn and Peekskill. And yes, prior results do not guarantee similar outcome. And yes, it's an advertisement, but it goes to show what can happen to many immigrants out there tuning into the show right here on 93.5 WVIP FM. And we say to everyone out there, a lot of people would like to go and handle their cases themselves. I say no. Let the attorneys do what it is that they've been doing for a number of years. The firm has been around for 60 solid years. Reach out to them. 844-774-3529. That's 844-774-3529. I say good luck to the family, but one good thing about this whole case is that PPID is on the case. And we must say thanks, Yi, for actually doing that, and dealing with this, and the firm handling this. 844-774-3529. Alan, you have any updates that you want to give us before?
Yeah, I have lots of updates. First of all, Governor Cuomo has signed something called the Protect Our Courts Act. And previously, federal immigration authorities were kind of deterring immigrants from appearing in New York State courts because they were afraid they'd be arrested by ICE when they appeared in New York State courts. This legislation will ensure that every New Yorker can have their day in court without being unfairly targeted by ICE or other federal immigration authorities. So ICE will not be able to arrest people going to state courts, going in state courts, unless there's a warrant authorized by a judge. So this Protect Our Courts Act is a good thing. In addition, the Department of State has informed the public that it has no current plans to start requiring proof of a COVID-19 vaccination for visa applicants. So if you're going to go to an American consulate overseas for a visa appointment, whether it's a non-immigrant or immigrant visa, the Department of State is not right now going to require proof of a COVID-19 vaccination.
Can they actually do that? Gentlemen, your attorney, can they actually enforce and force you to get a vaccine?
It's not, yes, in other words, Trump can do anything, and basically it's not the requirement now, but I think they could. And you can see that people coming in from the UK now are having a hell of a time because of what's going on there. So I think, I mean, while maybe they can't force you to have a vaccine, they don't have to give you a visa. So all I say is that the announcement is that there's no current plans right now to require people to be tested for COVID-19 when they go for their visa appointments.
You know, historic, just in further elaboration on and responding to your question, Dave, there are medical or health grounds for exclusion that have existed forever. And the most recent that comes to mind in this light is with AIDS. When the AIDS epidemic hit in the 80s, it didn't take long. Within a couple of years, actually it was sooner than that. Alan, you probably remember better than me, but the Reagan administration created a ground for exclusion if you tested positive for AIDS. And there was no way around it in the beginning. If you tested positive for AIDS, didn't matter how you were being sponsored to get a visa or green card, you were barred from coming to the United States. Eventually, they created a waiver process by which if you were married or had other equities, you were able to get a waiver, which is now the case. In fact, that, now it's getting an AIDS waiver if necessary is perfunctory. It's pretty much standard deal. But I remember back then when it first came about, how it had a similar impact on probably what's going to happen here. I am the last person that's ever going to give the Trump administration any credit whatsoever. On the contrary. But this is something that whether it's Trump, whether it's Biden, I'm sure that there's going to be some kind of COVID provision put in the law that people are going to have to demonstrate that they're COVID free or something along those lines. It's coming in 2020, and that's understandable. Whether it's proof that you took a vaccine or I don't know. I mean, the future will tell. But I am sure that there will be something COVID related, especially, remember there's that travel ban out there right now, which is currently due to expire at the end of the year, December 31st next week. And it's due to expire automatically unless the Trump administration renews it and extends it another 6 months, which I've been saying is likely. I'll be very surprised if he doesn't do it, unless, he's just too busy giving out pardons to criminals and playing golf, but besides that, if he does extend it, it'll be for 6 months, and then it's going to be on Biden to make a decision whether to terminate it or just let it expire on June 30th. But I'm sure that something along those lines over the next 6 months, there's going to be something put into the immigration law having to do with making sure that immigrants or workers coming into the U.S. are COVID free. I'm sure that's coming. So, okay. I'm sorry, Alan, continue.
No, it's okay, but you made a very good point. Very, very good point. And the information that you just gave, people who are listening can actually make their decisions as to what they want. They know what benefits they're seeking out there, but there is a lot coming in 2021 based on what you have said in reference to COVID. A whole lot is coming in 2021.
It's going to be related to the vaccine, and, the vaccine is being rolled out. But, I just heard as far as, whatever the reason, but Pfizer has now come out. They're going to be producing another 100 million vaccines, but they're not going to be here till the end of July. is the latest. So, who knows what's going to happen over the next 6-7 months with then there's the Moderna vaccine as well. Who knows, how the rollout is going to come about. But, again, this is all stuff that's going to take time. But Alan, go ahead. There are other important issues.
Okay, now, those of you who have a removal proceeding with with the EOIR, the Immigration Court, those removal proceedings have been postponed for non-detained people. Detained people is a different story if they've arrested you and you have a removal proceeding. So hearings in non-detained cases without a date are now postponed till January 8th, 2021 in the 3 immigration courts in New York. So if you have a removal proceeding, you're not detained, you don't have a date yet, you're still not going to have a date at least until January 8th. So they're on hold and they keep pushing that date back. The latest date now is January 8th, 2021 in non-detained cases without an announced date.
Aleph, let me interrupt for a sec. And we've been talking about this as well. Since the pandemic began, the Immigration Service here in New York, the local office in New York, and Alan, this covers Newark as well, or no?
No, this is just New York.
New York, yeah. The New York district office, they've been pushing these appointments out every couple of weeks. They extended another couple of weeks. So if you're scheduled for a deportation hearing, anytime in January, February, my guess is, even though right now they push the dates out only beyond January 8th, up to January 8th, rather. If you have a hearing on January 9th, my guess is you're probably not going. My guess is they're going to cancel that as well. I doubt you're going to be getting into that district office anytime soon. It's going to probably continue right through the spring until, again, those vaccines are really rolled out in numbers. So if you have a hearing coming up in February, March, even April, my guess is you're probably not going to be going forward, which leads to another issue. This backlog. There's 1 million cases that are sitting out there, 1 million deportation related cases.
1.3 million backlog.
And the backlog just continues to grow and grow and grow. And, these cases are being pushed out years. And as a result, people that are expecting their cases, and they might, whether they have a solid winnable case or not, who knows, but, they're not going to really get their day in court potentially to 2023, 24, 25. And that's untenable, and not to mention the fact that the Trump administration has recently tried to take these people that are waiting 3, 4, 5 years for their hearings. The Trump administration has tried to terminate their work authorization.
Unbelievable.
Let's just make it, it's bad enough you have to wait 5 years to get your day in court. Let's take away your work authorization as well while you're doing it. Right? What a lovely idea, right? But this is not, who thinks of these things? Right? Who in this administration lays in bed at night thinking, how can I really turn the screws on those immigrants? Yeah, make them wait 3, 4, 5, 6 years for their hearing. But you know what? Let's take away their ability to work at the same time. Maybe they'll leave.
Well, there's one individual,
let me jump.
Stephen Miller.
Let me answer my own question.
Let me jump in guys, before the top of the hour.
The person is
Stephen
Stephen
Miller is the man. Let me jump in and give out the number because we're getting to the top of the hour. This has been Cruising with a Case on the show on personal injury and immigration. Book your consultations now. They're free until the end of the year. Your free phone consultations are free until December 31st. The number to call is 844-774-3529. That's 844-774-3529. 844-PPID-LAW. Thank you all so much for tuning in. All right. There we go. We're at the top of the hour. Gentlemen, I'm going to have to run and hop off now, but I really want to say thank you all so much for what it is that you're doing for so many people that's out there right now. I applaud you for everything that you're doing. There are millions of people, as a matter of fact, out there that need help. And I'm very happy to see what PPID is doing. And you guys really, truly have the dream team. I mean, the architect who put this together evidently knows what it is that he is doing. And just to see different cases and different attorneys handling the cases respectively is phenomenal. I say thank you all so much. I wish I could stay a little bit longer today, but I'm really looking forward. And wow, I won't talk to you guys live until Monday, right?
Well, hopefully we'll have some good news on Monday, but that's true. We won't be talking to you live until Monday. This is
All right.
good.
Happy
That doesn't
holidays,
mean we-
Alan.
That doesn't mean we stop working.
Thank you.
No, I know that.
He is going into court tonight, Christmas Eve if necessary, to get these people out of jail.
There you go. Yeah.
Right, E?
Yeah.
Thanks a lot for that, man.
Conrad,
Conrad, thank you so much. All right. Alan?
you send me that clip that they just showed. I have clips, but that was a kind of very nicely put together. So that if you can send me the clip that we just showed, I
Yes.
want to use that.
It-
okay?
Yeah,
I'm in-
it's actually
I'm in
on
the
it's
office.
actually on the Facebook page
Yes,
for
sir.
anybody that wants to see it. PPID's page. I'll send you the link. It's on PPID's page. That's exactly where I went. So everybody out there, go follow PPID, go follow the case handler. Everything else on that page. Phone numbers on that page. You can book your consultations. And once again, thank you all, gentlemen.
Yeah, okay, I need that link to send to the New York Times and
Got
some
it.
other people.
Alan, I'm in the office. I'll
No
send it
problem.
immediately.
Okay.
Thanks, David.
All right. Thank you all so much, gentlemen. Have a great day. All right. Bye-bye.